Hello again, everybody. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the liturgical vestments, and my original plan was to go through all of the vestments, the alb, the amice, the cincture, the chasuble, and the stole, and explain some of their significance. But as I started looking into it, there's really too much. So today I'm just going to introduce the general categories and symbolism of all the vestments together as a whole group, and then in a subsequent video I'll go through each one. So first of all, a lot of people often ask, where did the vestments come from? Who invented them? What's the historical background? So I looked up on the Vatican website what it gives as the historical background, and it says that basically the vestments that we use come from just the regular secular clothing of the first centuries. So the clothing that we wear as the vestments was just the regular clothing that was used in the early centuries of the church. So the alb, for instance, was just, a tunic that someone would wear, and then the chasuble, the bigger outer garment, was kind of like an overcoat, if you will. So the vestments that were used were kind of the nicest instance, the most expensive instances of that clothing, but the design was the same as the regular clothing. But then the church kept the design of those clothes, even as the cultures and the fashions of the time shifted. So when the barbarians invaded the Roman Empire and the Roman Empire fell in, around Augustine's time, late 300s, early 400s, the church didn't change its vestments. It kept the vestments it had been using. So that's why now the vestments look very different from our ordinary clothing. So this is then what the Vatican website says about the significance of that, and it's really beautiful what they say. It says, the sacred vestments have an important function in liturgical celebrations. In the first place, the fact that they are not worn in ordinary life, and thus are recognizable as liturgical, helps one to be detached from the everyday and its concerns in the celebration of divine worship. So as soon as you enter into the church and see the priest in the vestments, you recognize, oh, something different is going on here. This isn't a function, a celebration, an event of the ordinary world. Everything looks otherworldly. So it's a reminder that something different is going on. Then it goes on. Furthermore, the ample form of the vestments, the alb, for example, the dalmatic, and the chasuble, in other words, just how copious they are, put the individuality of the one who wears them in second place in order to emphasize his liturgical role. One might say that the camouflaging of the minister's body by the vestments depersonalizes him in a way. It is that healthy depersonalization that decenters the celebrating minister and recognizes that the true protagonist, the true actor of the liturgical celebration is Christ. That's so neat. When the priest puts on his vestments, he's not going into the Mass as Father Matthew or Father Bernie or Father Justin or whoever it is. He's going in as the priest. And so his vestments reflect the fact that he goes in as the priest. In the same way that a uniform emphasizes someone's role, someone's function. It doesn't emphasize their person. The policeman in his uniform is acting as a policeman. He's doing policeman things. So too, the priest wearing the vestments does priestly things. And his personal character is de-emphasized. So the form of the vestments says that the liturgy is celebrated in the person of Christ, doing something in Christ's person, and not in the priest's own name. Okay, so that's what we have for today. Just the historical background of the vestments arriving from the secular, ordinary clothing of the first centuries, but then continuing in that form even as the fashions changed throughout the years. And then secondly, the role of the vestments now being different from the ordinary clothing, emphasizing the sacred or otherworldly character of the liturgy. And then finally, the nature of them as a uniform, showing that the priest enters the liturgy not in his own person, but in function of Jesus Christ. He acts in persona Christi.